Hello, beautiful people. I'm back. Actually, I never left. And if you see me doing weird things with my head, it's because I'm seeing a mirror image of myself and I get confused. But that's just for your entertainment. Uh, this will be our first real music theory lesson. So let's get on with it. Today we're going to talk about pitch. Whoops. We're going to talk about pitch. I will circle the important things that you need to know. People were talking a long time before they started writing stuff down, and then people were making music a long time before they started writing stuff down. So why do we need to write down music? Same reason we write down languages, to preserve ideas and to communicate ideas and to share ideas. Um, we will be um, we will be dealing with the music theory of Western music, which you think when you see Western music, that's not country and Western, it's European and American as opposed to Asian or world music or something that may notate things differently. There are systems of music that have more pitches in them than we have. Um, so music is written on a staff. If I'm circling these things, you need to know what they are. And we call these this system that we use to write music is called common notation. The staff is a series of um, 5 horizontal lines. Simply put, a simplest staff is 5 horizontal lines, 5 parallel lines. So we need to know staff, your staff. You need to identify this is a staff. This is the staff. I'm going to circle this because you need to be able to identify these things. All of those things. This is the clef symbol. This is the key signature. Many of you may not know enough about music to know what a key signature is for, but you will. This is the time signature. It tells us whether it's in, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 3, 4 would be 4, 4. If it were a 3 over a 4, it would be 1, 2, 3, 2, 2, 3, 3, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3. A little different feel. This is a note written in a space. This is a space. In between the lines is a space. On the line is on the line. The little lines written above the staff or below the staff, they can go below the staff, are called ledger lines. And we'll get into why we have ledger lines in a few minutes. Maybe in the next lesson. Bar lines divide the staff up into measures, groups of 4 beats. So this would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Get it? 1, 2, 3, 4. It's divided up into groups of 4. It could be divided up into groups of 3 or 12 or 8, just depending on the time signature. Double bar line. That means that's where you stop. Heavy double bar line is absolutely the end of a piece. Double bar line might be showing you the end of a section. But a heavy double bar line like that means the end. And music on a staff is read from left to right, just like we read English. Know this stuff. This will be on a quiz. There are different kinds of symbols that can appear. I can circle all these things up here one at a time. which are the things we just talked about. Tempo markings, dynamic markings. We won't worry about repeats, but it can repeat, and accents. We won't worry too much about accents right now, but you need to know this. Just identify them. We're not going to heavily get into them. Just know that they're there. Okay. So this is still the clef sign, time signature. This is the staff, a bar line, another bar line. But in between bar lines, from one bar line to the next bar line, is one measure. These red things, they won't be read in regular written music, but these red things are called rests. That means nothing is happening. And these are notes. Each one of these is a quarter note. They each get one beat. But those are notes. These little things are accents. That means these notes get extra emphasis. Here are tempo markings. Allegro, this means a quarter note, one of these, equals 120 beats per minute. So not terribly fast, just depends on who you're asking whether it's fast or not. Dynamic markings. These markings tell us whether tell us how loud to sing or play and when to get louder. This is piano, that means softly. And then this is a crescendo mark, which means as you sing these, gradually get louder. We'll get more into dynamic markings later. Just be able to identify, like, if I point at that, you can go, that's a dynamic marking. If I point at this or that, you can go, that's a rest. That's a note. That's a treble clef. That's a time signature. That's a tempo marking. Just look at them and tell what they are. Same thing up here. That's a key signature. That's a note in a space. That's a note on a line. That's a bar line. You don't have to define them, just identify them. And of course, my sons don't talk to me all day, but they decide they want to talk to me while I'm recording this lesson. So, groups of staves. Stave is the plural of staff. So we're going to talk about staves. Musical theater folks, this is the most common one that you will see. These two staves are the piano part. This is treble clef, bass clef, key signatures, time signature. Yes, that C is a time signature. And then this is the vocal line. These bars at the beginning of each line, say that this all travels together. This is being played while this is being sung. This brace shows you that these two things belong to the same instrument. Most of you will never need to read anything like this. You'll need to read something like that if you're arranging for an orchestra, or if you're arranging for a band, or if you're a band director reading a full score. I imagine Mr. Keith reads things similar to this when he's directing band. But this is the flute part, the oboe part, the clarinets, and the bassoons. He said those are all woodwinds, so they're joined together with this bracket. These are the horns, French horns, and the trumpets. Those are joined together. Then this is the timpani, that is tuned percussion. Violin 1, violin 2, they're joined together. See, they get all of this big brace is all the strings together. And then this means this is these are the violins. These two lines are the violins. Makes it easier to find what you're looking for. So those are the violins, first violin, second violin, the viola all by itself, and then the cello and bass, cello and contrabass. Notice how their parts are written exactly the same. They sound an octave apart, though. The cello usually doubles the bass an octave higher to emphasize that part more. It's kind of hard to hear a bass by itself over a full orchestra. That little weird thing is called a C clef. That's a G clef. That's an F clef. That's a C clef. We will not worry about those. We're just going to worry about these two right here. We'll briefly talk about them because they're kind of interesting. They don't get used a ton anymore unless you are like a viola player. Then you need to know how to read that. But all of that is played at the same time. It's not this line plays and then this line and then this line and then this line and then that plays. All of these things are happening at the same time. Okay. The clefs. We're going to talk about clefs. We're going to talk about treble clef and bass clef. At the beginning of every staff is a clef symbol. This is a treble clef symbol. And this is the bass clef symbol. The treble clef is also called a G clef. Why? Because this kind of, sort of, looks like a G. And maybe back in the day when people wrote differently than they do now, it might have looked even more like a G. This is called an F clef because that looks like an F. And whatever line this circles is G. And whatever line these two little dots are on each side of is F. Good news. G is almost always in Western music going to be that line right there. See? G. Says so. F is always going to be this line right here. See there? Says so. So, the musical alphabet is only 7 letters. A, B, C, D, E, F, G. I think that's 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yes. So what's written here, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A, is actually, and I will not be on pitch, but it'll be relative to this. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do, ti, la, sol, fa. That's as far as I can go. So G, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A. Go down, it's G, F, E, D, C. And continues on down and continues on up. Bass clef is where lower notes are written. Soprano and alto parts in a chorus. Soprano and alto are usually written on the treble clef, and tenor and bass are usually written on the bass clef. On the bass clef, this is F, so you have A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, or E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A, B. We'll learn treble clef, and after you learn treble clef, there's a really easy way to learn bass clef. Excuse me, I've been interrupted, folks.